Howdy.
Hey, Steve.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good, except for my terrible webcam problems. But other than that, I'm doing fine. I don't have a webcam that works with audio,
Uh-huh.
so I'm having to call in on my phone. But I'm fine.
I was actually dressed a little better today when I started, but I had a new driveway put in yesterday, and so I'd already been showered and cleaned up, and I thought, well, I'll go out and move a little of that dirt around along the edges. I had them put dirt down to try to, not have the edges raw. And so then I ended up going out and getting all sweaty with my shovel. So I had to change. Hey, Betsy, how are you?
Hey, Betsy.
You're unmute.
I'm like, I hit it a couple of times. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
This is grueling. I hope you are prepared. We are going to nail you to the wall.
Yeah, you're in big trouble.
Hi, Amy.
Hey.
Sorry,
Sorry
let me close out my Outlook. It's just like, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I have to turn off my Outlook notifications, or there's never-ending beeps.
Yes. Well,
I just got off an interesting call with all of the Nashville area chambers and the mayor's office, talking about the phasing in of the reopening of businesses and the draft plan that they have put together for that. So that was interesting.
Yeah, I know. I found out, I never knew this, and my mom told me that Davidson County, Hamilton County, Shelby counties, they all had a board of health that was separate from the state prior to the state having a board of health. So they have this, like, I guess, layered mechanism that they have to not only do what the governor is proposing, but follow the bylaws of that separate board for their county in terms of health.
Yeah, I
didn't realize that. It seems complicated.
Yeah, I mean, I think the state is going to start phasing in reopening much quicker than the large metro areas. Nashville, I think there are 5 counties that are not going to participate in the reopening that the governor put forth. So in Nashville, obviously it's going to be later, but they're trying to figure out the whole testing and PPE situation, and it's just crazy.
Some of these
I don't know how they're going to do it.
Some of these rural counties, you look and they just don't have any cases. And it's like, those people, I don't know why they shouldn't be able to do it. I understand that, but the bigger cities are the ones with the problem.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I'm certainly learning a lot about myself and my family and my business and our city and the country and the world. So just learning.
Yes, well,
yeah, I mean, I think that's something that we can take away from this that's positive, that we're definitely all learning a lot of about ourselves and about how we react and deal with crisis and how we deal with change. And it's been an extremely interesting process for me. One of the real positive things I've seen come out of this is a lot of collaboration among chambers in the area.
Awesome.
Which I think is hopefully going to move forward, continue to go on after this is over. We're all looking to, the larger chambers to really help and support the smaller ones. And they're doing a really good job of that so far. So it's good.
Have you had any conversations with Kathy Truitt, Amy? Remember, I've tried to connect you guys, or say maybe y'all should, because you're both in some somewhat of a similar situation.
You know, I've been meaning to call Kathy. I haven't talked to her in a long time. I'm gonna make a note to do that. She wasn't on this call this morning. So I really haven't seen a lot of participation from Kathy in any of the multi-chamber stuff, but I will give her a call.
That's
Just
the
to check
Tennessee
in.
Christian Chamber, Betsy. I didn't know if you knew them, Tennessee Christian Chamber. But can y'all hear me okay? Am I,
A little trouble
Stay-
here.
yeah.
Steve.
okay, I'll
Stay
move up.
closer to the mic.
I will. I'm more up. I was in my laid back. In fact,
Yes,
my favorite Zoom screen I've seen so far is the Oval Office behind you. The background. It's like, oh, I want that one.
None of my backgrounds work because there's too much sunshine.
Right.
And it looks like I'm, crawling in and out of whatever background I try to put up. So
I know.
Yeah.
Well, Betsy, it's an honor. I am so glad you're interested in serving on our board. So what we've got is we've got multiple applicants, and we've got right now we only have 2 openings there.
okay.
So what we're trying to do is like trying to look at where we are, what we need, and assess that. And it has nothing to do with you personally, one way or the other, which way we go. We're just that we've got our spots that we have to fill. But from the minute I met you, I said we need to get Betsy involved. So you've got just this great attitude and excitement, all that stuff, and it's been great getting to know you better.
Well, likewise. Yeah, it's from the second I just made the decision, I was looking at different chambers to join and be a part of, Davidson County, Williamson County. I just said, why would I be a part of a different chamber that I don't live in to, really understand what's happening in my community? And since the moment I made that decision, it's just been, this is the neighborhood that I live in. These are the specific issues that we're all facing. And it's been great. I mean, I think we're a really good group of people.
That's awesome. So what?
I love it. Amy put up her chamber logo.
It's the chamber icon.
Looks like you're on one of those video games from the late 80s, like about to do like a motorcycle racing.
Oh yeah. So what makes you? Why are you interested in serving on the chamber board?
So the biggest reason that I'm interested in serving on the board is to have a greater understanding at a higher level of what the board is looking to accomplish, what their long-term goals are, and be a part of some of those initiatives and priorities so that I can just be better informed as I connect with businesses in the area and try to help them do what they do. I think the more we know and the more we're involved with that knowledge, the better able we are to serve. And that's, that's just something that I think is important. If you want a voice and if you want to truly help someone, you need to really understand not just what the problems are, but what the goals are.
I like it. So tell me about your business. What is it? Because I know you work with Jacob some, but what is your business?
My business is simply put, I'm an independent contractor for right now 8 different manufacturers of office products. So I cover, like my territory that I manage is the state of Tennessee with all 8 of those manufacturers, and then the state of Mississippi with 5 of those manufacturers. And my job is to explain and educate my customers on product offerings and consult with them on that application and the appropriateness of the application for what it is they're trying to achieve with their furniture in a space. So I work with architects, designers, contractors, and then everything is purchased through resellers because it's all custom made to order furniture.
Mhm.
So it's ordered and that paper is held and that transaction is processed by a dealer. So that where Jacob works at Office Furniture and Related Services, they're one of my customers, and I have give or take depending on the manufacturer, because that account is held separately by each, but about 50 dealers across the 2 states.
Mhm. Interesting. And I don't know if I've asked you this. Do you ever work with Inner Design?
Yeah.
Okay, my daughter is Shelley Sinclair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I do presentations to them, mostly to the design team. I let them know about new products that have come out. They're always very interested in textiles that are cleanable, with their focus on healthcare. They're looking at, bleach cleanable products and
okay.
things like that. Yeah.
So do you have business opportunities in the chamber per se? Because it sounds like to me it's not really just a business reason you're looking at the chamber, but personal.
It's absolutely more personal and professional growth than specific business opportunities. I mean, I don't know that since I've been involved with the chamber, I don't think that I can, point to any specific, business
Mhm.
opportunity that presented itself. I more or less have a customer base that's spread across the entire state. And so the business that I do and the opportunities that come from that really generate more in a circle around those dealer partners that I have and the designers that are working on projects. I actually get involved with projects that, if it's through a design firm, I'm working on those projects anywhere in the country. So for me, the chamber and the relationships that I have with the chamber are more about what are my neighbors? Who are my neighbors? What are my neighbors' challenges? How can I, with all of the different people that I interact with on a daily basis here in Nashville, how can I help further connect the dots for my customers, for my neighbors, for fellow chamber members? I am a people person. Right now, I'm a starving people person, but I want to be in it. I want to be, engaged. And I've actually been working with a professional coach for a couple of years now. She's in Birmingham, but one thing that I've really learned through working with her is my innate desire to connect with people makes me good at my job, but it's also a gift that I want to share. And as I grow professionally, just how do I do that? Where are places that I can, bring my desire to just want to talk, want to connect, and want to be engaged. So
Yeah, it sounds like you're pretty flexible on your work schedule too.
I am, and I actually, I'm extremely flexible these days because I used to have a calendar that was, scheduled out things 6, 7, 8 months in advance with various design firms and whatnot, and that has within the past month completely cleared up. So anything that I put on my calendar, whether it's a year out or a week out or tomorrow, whatever's on there first, I'm committed to that.
Mhm.
So right now, if I put something, out on my calendar that's a repeating thing for the next 3 years, for instance, with the meetings, then it's on there and I can schedule around it. I make my own schedule in that way.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the chamber needs to do to best serve our mission? What what do you think that we need to be doing to better serve our business community?
I don't know. And I think that's part of, like I said in the beginning, my reason for wanting to join.
Mhm.
How to prioritize what the chamber is doing to serve. I'd really like to hear from the people that have been leading those efforts and have the opportunity to have input and think about what that would be. I'm very interested to know about how we could cooperate with other area chambers.
Mhm.
I again, moving to Nashville was a new experience for me in terms of how chambers operate. When I went to the first Davidson County event, I had no idea that there were so many chambers that were so closely physically around one another, but that we weren't sharing events and sharing resources. So that's something I'm extremely interested in learning more about,
Mhm.
so that I might have some way to answer that question.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this,
That might sound uninformed, but I mean, that's really why I'm mostly curious. Like,
yeah,
I want to know. I want to find out.
I get that. I get that. Now it doesn't look like you've done a lot of board stuff in the past. So this is all new, but that's how you learn. You raise your hand and say, I'm willing to work for no pay and put lots of hours and take stresses and all that for a but
Especially right now, it's so much fun, right, Steve?
Oh,
that's right.
I hope it's kind of fun.
No, yeah, it is still fun, but we've had a lot of challenges, and I think it's important for me to chime in about this right now, because folks that have not served on boards before, and particularly if you haven't served on the board of a small nonprofit like we are, it's difficult to gauge how much of your energy is required. We have a chamber with, as you know, 2 employees. Both of us are part-time. I mean, we're legally full-time, but both of us are not supposed to be working more than 30 hours a week, which is kind of hilarious some weeks. I can tell you.
Right.
But when you have a small staff on a chamber board, the board has to be much more involved in actually hands-on helping, in addition to the loftier goals of strategic planning and taking care of the financial goals of the organization. So it can be a little bit more intense than some people expect, particularly if you are serving in an officer position, which you wouldn't be doing, anytime soon. But it's important for me to tell people that are interested in serving on our board that it is sometimes a little bit more than you think it will be. Just because we have to have all hands on deck in a lot of situations. And we have to have commitment. And when people say they can do something or they're going to do something, it really has to be more than just, hey, I'll do this, but then, it doesn't get done. It's much more, there's a lot more holding feet to the fire when people are volunteering for small nonprofit boards. So, I mean, I just wanted to bring that up because I think sometimes, particularly in times of crisis like we're in right now, it can be a little bit, difficult, because as a board member, you are part of the group that holds a fiduciary responsibility for this organization. And so therefore you have a lot of responsibility to keep our organization going along with the rest of the group. And there are some, legal and financial responsibilities that are bestowed upon the board. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up because I think it's important for everyone to know that.
Yeah.
And if if things go forward and you're elected to the board, I have a very thorough orientation that I do with new board members to make sure that they understand all of that.
Okay.
Anyway, it has been a difficult time for us, and particularly with the executive board because of the postponement of events, having to cancel all of our regular events, and then our big fundraising event.
Yeah.
So, we've had to really buckle down and spend a lot of time together talking about, what we do now. How do we move forward? And this is an extremely unusual time for everyone, but it does bear mentioning that there's a great deal of leadership that's required. Anyway, I'll shut up now.
It's fine.
What events have you volunteered in? Have you volunteered in any of our events or had a chance to work on site at any of the events?
So the event that I was going to be 100% hands-on with, the recent cancellation of the crawfish boil, I was really excited about. I have volunteered at other events. I have led other events through IIDA, the International Interior Design Association. I have, which I've been a member of since I was in college. I have led several committees through that, both in Atlanta and Minneapolis. None here in Nashville that I've led, but I've been a part of various events like that, silent auctions, fashion show fundraisers, cold calling for money. I've done that too. So yeah, I'm not afraid to talk to people. I'm not afraid to ask for things that I want or need, or that the community needs, or a community needs. And I understand nonprofits. I grew up in a house with a minister and a social worker. So, churches and the politics behind church and the economy behind church and the budgets behind that. And digging in on what's available and how to determine how to allocate those resources. I feel like I have life experience in doing that. And also, experience with IIDA in managing funds and asking for more funds.
So what areas do you see yourself gravitating towards as far as in the chamber? Like, we've got events, we've got, financial, we've got community development, we've got lots of different things. What are your interests? What parts do you see yourself?
Oh, I love to throw parties. I love events. That is my, that's what I do. Coordinating food and invitations and logistics, getting things places, setting stuff up and making it look fun, and welcoming people. And I like events.
Okay.
It's my favorite.
Loves to party.
I love to party. That's what I do.
Chamber people are notorious for that.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. They also say, you get involved in chambers, you gain the chamber 25 from all the freaking food that's everywhere all the time.
Well, yeah. I'm gaining sharing the office with my husband 25, working on that. Or feeding my kids every 20 minutes and then eating the rest of the food they don't eat. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, somebody was
Yeah,
telling
I'm
me,
thinking it.
yeah, saying that after all this is through, we'll all have the meetings, AA and the Weight Watchers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh me. Let's see.
Let me ask you this. You said there's just a couple of spots open. Do you have dedicated roles for the people who are not, who are serving on the board, who are trying to, I mean, obviously you're all trying to specifically focus on something, even though you all have to take on roles and responsibilities across all of those platforms.
We have certain people, for example, Doug. Doug is responsible for getting all of our speakers and stuff, and he's chosen that and does great there. Diana has an accounting background. That's what she does, and so she does that part. But it's more serving on committees. So we'll have the picnic committee, the crawfish committee. We'll have sometimes. So if different things come up, then you'll say who wants to serve on this committee, or we need help with these things. Now, serving in some committees is a lot more hands-on than others. For example, the picnic committee involves setting up, taking down, being there, all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah, moving furniture.
Yep. That's
I'm good at that.
Hauling stuff in trucks for, 2
Yep.
days in a row.
Yeah.
Fun time.
But I know it's a
Setting up
picnic
camp.
last year. It's picnic last year. Sandra and who else went? There were 3 of us. We went. Oh, and Diana, because she had the money. Went to Walmart and bought the drinks and the all the munchies on the night before.
Oh yeah.
To set it all up, and like when we do this, I think our tentative date is September 12th on the picnic, assuming that everything gets opened back up, and it's going to be all hands on deck, to make that happen. So it's, but you don't have to come in with one position in mind.
Okay. Yeah, that was really, my specific question.
Yeah. No, it's just you can get involved in as many as you want and have the time for, because people always love the help.
Yeah, I strongly suggest that people kind of focus in one area if they can, because if you get too scattered, sometimes, it waters down that level of, what you can bring to the table. We have Sandra Harris, who's been on the board for several years, and she does, she volunteers for a lot of things, but, her main focus right now is like being our education liaison, helping connect schools with businesses. And then, Doug, like Steve mentioned, has been doing speaker recruitment, and he works with me very closely on event management, event planning. We talk through every event. We, discuss it on a regular basis, and we work together on those things. But then he'll also come out and volunteer for a couple hours at the picnic. But it's his main focus.
Yeah.
Like Chad Crow is, his main focus. He's got 3, which causes him to sometimes be a little bit panicked, because he's overloaded with, he's doing co-chairing the picnic with me, and he's co-chairing the crawfish boil with me, and then he also works on the economic development committee. So
and in construction.
I feel like, yeah.
Which is like he's a ball juggler. Yeah, he's probably.
Yeah, he's a ball juggler, and he's really good at it. But I feel like sometimes it's better for people to just say, okay, I'm going to focus on this.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a relatively large board for a small nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
We have 17 people on the board,
Okay.
and I think part of where we have fallen back a little bit in things that we really need to do better is serious, like strategic planning with roles, responsibilities, deadlines, that sort of thing. And sometimes that gets lost a little bit in all of the other things we have to do, because we have to keep on going doing what we always do. So looking at those 3-year goals sometimes can be difficult when we're in the weeds, trying to get done the day-to-day stuff.
Right.
So it's extremely important. That's an extremely important piece of growing an organization, is having a very clear idea of where you're going to go, where you want to go, and but more importantly, how are we going to get there, and how do we measure that?
Yeah.
How do we measure that progress as we move forward?
Yeah.
So that's always a role that I find is extremely needed.
Well, that's kind of what my job is. That's kind of what my job is to, you know, set goals and set plans for how I'm going to get there. And none of it is stuff that really I can do in my job. You know, I'm an influencer, but I can't, you know, and nor do I want to make people buy anything. So that's never been, you know, something like that's just not possible. So what is it about influencing people and helping them to understand how they're making their decision to move forward? It's a lot of managing and helping to guide people in tasks. So it's about process, right? Because we're all people, we're all human beings, and we're all trying to get things done. But where is it that we can, you know, how do we shine? How is it that we come together and actually make something happen together? It's about that process. It's about talking constantly, communicating and over communicating about who's doing what and why, and what are the things that, you know, where are the holes, where are the gaps, and where do we need more knowledge? Where do we need more time? Where do we need more space? Are we, you know, overlapping? It's almost like human project management.
Yeah, that's what the chamber is.
Yeah.
Is human project management, honestly. And something that I've long, you know, for 6 years that I've been with this chamber, I've wanted to implement some sort of a project management system for us to all work through. But it's been difficult because it's another piece of software people have to learn, and it's, you know, sometimes. And
there's hundreds of things to choose from. I mean, in as many platforms as we've been virtually meeting, I think I have 12 now that have logins for, right? Like Zoom and Teams and GoTo and Google Hangouts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like but yeah, you just get in and figure it out and try to.
We got to make sure we don't have any conflict of interest now. What school do you pull for in football? No, I'm kidding.
University of Georgia.
Lord, I'm glad that's not a criteria.
That's right.
No,
so who cares about that kind of stuff?
If we ever start. Yeah, if we ever start.
Oh, man. Well, if you don't have any more questions for us, then I think I have what I need. Amy, anything else from you?
I think you've answered in part most of the questions we have on our list. Hey, be quiet in there.
Is it your puppy?
No, my daughter and her friend.
Oh, it sounded like a little bark from here.
Yeah, she was yelling.
Oh.
So, no, I think the last couple of questions, one is how would a board position fit your personal and professional goals? And I think you've already answered that. But what would you like to gain from your board experience, which is a little bit more, maybe you could expand on that just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Outside of personal and professional growth and learning more about how organizations operate. What do you feel, what are some other things that you'd like to gain from having this experience?
I think just the gratitude that I have for having moved to Nashville and, you know, having never been here before and now lived in this city for 5.5 years. I really want to some of those moments where someone is able to say to me, thank you. Thanks for helping me with something. Thanks for helping me with my business. Thanks for helping me with something, you know, personally, but just to be able to give back and have, you know, have someone come to me and say thanks, because this really has been the type of community that has, you know, welcomed me with open arms. I'm going to get emotional, but it's like people just are like, oh, you're new and you're here and we're so excited and how can I help you? And I feel like I'm finally in a place where maybe I can do the same for somebody else. And so I didn't mean to start crying.
Oh, no, that's okay. When we start talking about our personal goals and our personal dreams and what we're looking to, you know, to do for our community, it can get kind of emotional. It's funny, I was at the chiropractor's office on Monday.
Yeah.
And, I was lying on the table and, you know, they're a member of the chamber and have been for a long time. And they were asking me how things were going. And I was telling them, you know, how much we've had to deal with lately and how good of an executive board that I have. Yeah. Because we've had to talk so much and I've had to take so much of their time, and it made me start getting all emotional. And I was like, what the heck was that all about? I think we're all just kind of in that place right now where things are felt a little bit more deeply than they
are. It's like, you know, I have had some, I mean, I'm a goer, I'm a doer, I'm a busybody all over the place. And I have had so much time to just stand in one place, feel the earth under my feet and say, okay, you know, Betsy, why are you here? And I think a lot of why I'm here is to take that next step just as an adult, as a business owner, as a member of this community, to help other people get to a place where that, you know, they're happy and excited that they live here and that they're doing business here and that, you know, they want to stay and that we want to keep growing and we want to keep helping where help is needed. And that's going to constantly change. It's just been shifting a lot lately.
Oh yeah, it sure has. And you know, I think it's really wonderful that even during this crazy time that we're in right now, we've, you know, had several people that have stepped up and said, you know what, I'm interested in taking on a leadership role with the chamber. And it's, I think is a testament to the hard work that we've done over the past several years to make this organization what it is now. And so we're really appreciative that you are interested, and thank you for your time today. And thank you for being so enthusiastic. And we, just to kind of give you a little bit of a timeline, the board development committee is going to be reviewing all of the candidates and getting back together on Friday and talking about making a decision. And so you should be notified. The board has to vote on it. The full board has to vote on it on May the 6th. Okay. And so we should have a final decision by May the 7th.
Okay.
And the term starts July 1.
Yes.
Yeah, July 1.
Okay. Okay. And maybe we'll be able to see each other by then.
Yep. And put me
nice?
down for a hug at some point in time. I need a hug at some point in time.
I need like 1,000 hugs. I'm on a huge hug deficiency.
I know.
I told my kids that's part of their homeschooling is they have to give mom 5 hugs a day.
Oh. I know.
All
We're going to have a great day, okay?
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.